as President Muhammadu Buhari opened the first anti-corruption summit in Yola. Yoruba Command allays fears over abduction of secondary school girls in Dapchi after attack by suspected insurgents. International Petroleum Summit continues in Abuja. Participants list priorities in growing the oil and gas sector. Good evening. Welcome to TN Network News. I am Yusuf Aliyu Adi. And reading with me tonight is Elizabeth in Lagos. Transparency, accountability, and social values is the template to measure the execution of the fight against corruption in Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this at the declaration of the first Adamawa Anti-Corruption Summit in Yola. President Buhari noted that with the trend of projects by the Adamawa state government in the last 2 years, the state is on the right track to social development and ensuring accountability. The summit, with the theme Transparency, Accountability and Social Value, is a prototype of the federal government anti-corruption drive to combat corruption in the country. The president also commissioned some projects during his one-day visit to Adamawa State.
Determination to fight corruption.
Minister of State Petroleum Resources Emmanuel Ibeka-Chukwu has reiterated federal government's commitment and resolve to develop a stable and enabling oil and gas landscape to maximize investment opportunities in the industry. The minister made the commitment at the ongoing Made in Nigerian International Petroleum Summit while leading a discussion on the 7 big wins, a focused short and medium term to grow the industry. Lydia Sampson has to report.
The session, chaired by former GMD of NNPC and Chairman Brass LNG, Gaius Jackson Obaseki, focused on the achievements and efforts to improve on ongoing reforms across the oil and gas value chain. Lead Speaker and Minister of State Petroleum Resources, Emmanuel Ibeka-Chukwu, in addition to sanitizing the sector, Nigeria is also promoting gas revolution.
Building back a confidence in the industry. Let the industry see that there was a willingness to do something major in terms of that gap in relationship.
A panel of indigenous key players examined strategic adaptation to environmental shocks, turbulence and radical institutional change being witnessed in the sector from time to time.
For the success, there must be synergy amongst all the leadership.
Is the 7 must win to move the industry forward.
Let us have access in a competitive, fair, transparent manner to more assets.
A session on regulating the African oil and gas industry for better efficiency, lessons from the Nigerian experience, were topical issues around legislation in the sector to keep pace with recent realities also featured.
To ensure that all the bills concerning petroleum industry reform are passed.
I wasn't expecting this good work.
The summit had more key presentations on Africa as a potential destination for investment in oil and gas. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
Joining from our Lagos studio is Simbi Wabote, Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board. Hello, and how are you, Simbi? This is expected to be an annual event. What technologies is showcasing in this week-long event?
I think, first of all, this is the first of its kind in the country. Through the journey of our local content effort in the oil and gas sector. So we have a lot of participants who have attended this to showcase some of the technologies and some of the local capacity they've been able to build over the years. Like you know, we started the local content journey 7 years ago, and I think it's come to a stage where Nigeria needs to take a lead within the sub-Saharan Africa as well as the Gulf of Guinea region, and then harness what we've been able to achieve and bring our fellow countrymen and all those within the region into a common place where we can discuss potential technology, where we can discuss the new norm in terms of oil and gas exploitation and exploration in Africa as such. So this platform was purposely created to bring African countries together. And so at the last count, you had about 6 African countries in attendance. We believe that if we remain consistent with this and then try to fine-tune it the more, we'll be able to occupy that space in terms of exhibiting technology locally and also learning from others within Africa. The honest truth is that African countries are also looking up to Nigeria in terms of all that we have achieved in local content development, and they want us to work together to share that experience and also to create that relationship between African countries. So I think this is a step in the right direction. We have started. We just need to remain focused and consistent, and I believe over time we will perfect it and we'll begin to compete, if you like, in terms of quality of conference with the likes of ADIPEC, with the likes of OTC. I think that's the goal that the minister has set, and I think this is a very good start.
Wabote, what's the involvement of the Nigerian local players in the furtherance of the Nigerian content drive?
Of course, like you know, every year we do what I usually call a pilgrimage to the Overseas Technical Offshore Technology Conference in Houston. And from experience, Nigerians have been yearning for that opportunity where they can also showcase their capability that have been developed over time. And I think this is a wake-up call to us as Nigerians. Yes, you will say that we have been organizing conferences in the past, but this is the first time we have put an international dimension to it. And I think with that focus on what we want to do and the aspiration, as it were, of the Ministry of Resources, we will change in the very near future in terms of how conferences are organized and participation in those conferences. And I think if you were there at the conference, Nigerian companies did exhibit at the conference, and we hope that in the next edition we will expand this far more beyond what we were able to achieve this time around. This is the first outing, and I think with commitment and concerted effort we will do a lot better than we did this time around.
Well, Mr. Wabote is Executive Secretary in the
Republic of Nigeria. Guest of honor, His Excellency Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, Executive Governor of Osun State. Chief host Alhaji Lai Mohammed, Honorable Minister of Information and Culture. Come and be a part of the digital revolution. NBC, your rights to quality broadcasting. Ishak Modibo Kawu, Director General, Announcer.
Welcome back. The House of Representatives is considering a bill that seeks to establish the Excess Revenue Fund account. The bill, which has been passed for second reading, is aimed at providing legal backing for accounts such as the excess crude account. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Onkwo reports.
Lack of constitutional backing has been one of the major criticisms against the existence of the excess crude oil account that Nigeria operates today. This necessitated the introduction of a bill that seeks to amend the Allocation of Revenue Act of 2004 to provide for the establishment of an excess revenue fund account. The bill was sponsored by Representative Lovett Idisi from Delta State.
Without appropriate legal appropriation and backing, it amounts to illegality.
It is only this National Assembly that, based on Section 80, that can establish that account.
It as if it is so natural that we always have excess every year.
Whether they are doing it rightly or wrongly, it must be established by law.
The need to embrace ranching in Nigeria resonated on the floor as Representative Mohammed Onawo from Nasarawa State moved a motion on the need to educate and encourage herdsmen on the benefit of ranching instead of the proposed cattle colonies.
And you'll be able to sift between criminals and those that are really rearing cows.
We should start
begin to tune our mind to modern way of doing things.
Confining them now is not the best solution because of those that are coming that are of even greater number.
For you to have a successful ranch, you should have at least 7 to 8 months of rainfall, which is basically impossible.
Colonies, stricter sense defined, means a combination of 3, 4, or 5 ranches in one place.
The legislators resolved to investigate alleged diversion of 62.3 billion naira by the past board of the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund from the National Assembly. Ignatius Nkwo, NTA News.
Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has restated that the federal government will not under any guise stifle the media in the country. The minister restated this in Abuja when he granted audience to the Chief Executive Officer of TVC Communication. Anthony Forson reports.
The Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed, while commending the TVC Chief Executive, said TVC has come a long way within a short period, having rich content in its news and programming, but was quick to draw attention to some unprofessional conducts by media organizations, saying the media has a great role to play in a democracy.
The media in Nigeria today is a very powerful one. And I think they've earned their stripes, I must say this. The way the media today generally is reporting the government does not take into cognizance the challenges the government met and that the government is trying to overcome.
Looking inwards, the minister said the present administration has done what it can do within its powers to put Nigeria back in shape. Hence, the media must partner with government.
Report, but please be fair to us. You must know where we are coming from before you make a judgment as to where we are. We came from the very, very deep under, and we are committed, we are focused, and we would cooperate with the media. But we also want the media to please also understand where we are coming from.
The Chief Executive Officer of TVC Communication, Andrew Hanlon, said their visit is to explore avenues for mutual relationship.
That is a demonstration of our commitment to the Nigerian audiovisual sector and to the Nigerian economy, and to continue to invest and to employ more people.
TVC is a 24-hour television station owned by Continental Broadcasting Services Limited, based in Lagos. In Abuja, Anthony Forson, NTA News.
They are lives compliance with traffic regulations, educating the public on safer road initiatives, attracted rewards during the closing ceremony of the Federal Road Safety Corps 30th Anniversary Award Night. Among several recipients was the Nigerian Television Authority, recognized for contributing to road safety development in Nigeria. Emmanuel Anyimero was there.
If you imagine the number of lives that have been saved between 1988 to 2018 by the FRSC and other stakeholders, the need to celebrate those who have contributed in one way or the other to reduce accidents on the road are worthy of recognition. Going by the 1976 record of accidents, about 41,000 and less than 5,000 in 2017, road crashes have indeed reduced. The award night therefore honored all past and present secretaries of the government of the Federation, which supervised FRSC, past and present Corps Marshal, NURTW, and other individuals for their sustained support for road safety management.
It gives me satisfaction, not just me alone, because a lot of people can derive some benefit from my performance. Continue to partner with road safety, and I'll call on the entire members of my union. They should be road conscious and they should cooperate with the Federal Road Safety Commission so that they can free accident road.
For the largest television network in Africa, the NTA, recognized for effective road safety campaign, Nigerians should expect more contributions.
Issues that concerns the protection of lives and property
especially on the safety on our roads. NTA is in the forefront. You know, in our programming, in our reportage, anywhere road safety is, we are there. NTA has received a lot of laurels, and this one is very, very important one that affects the lives of the individuals and the nation at large.
With all the recognition and many more to come, sustained road safety management is the new order. Emmanuel Ayimiro, NTA News.
The Procter & Gamble Company is marking 25 years of operating in Nigeria with more education programs to build on the 6.6 million girl child already benefiting from its different interventions. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, who was at the Junior Secondary School Karu, venue for one of the Silver Jubilee celebration, reports that students of different girls' schools that attended the event left with entrepreneurial knowledge and packs of sanitary and domestic products.
P&G always keeping health in school projects. I can have a pleasurable moment in school and thrive.
These are students of different secondary schools in FCT who converge on Junior Secondary School Karu to listen to lectures on entrepreneurship and demonstrations on how to use different sanitary and domestic products. This is courtesy of the P&G industry, which is celebrating 25 years of operating in Nigeria, producing 6 brands of Pampers, Ariel, Always, Gillette, Oral-B toothpaste and Safeguard soap. The company, whose corporate social responsibility activities in education cover across 6 states of the Federation, is making the Silver Jubilee by making deliberate efforts to empower the girl child and guarantee more employment.
Our social investments touch over 3 million Nigerians annually in health and education programs.
One step further in this program is also engaging the community on the importance of providing hygiene materials for the girls to enable them to go to school.
We talk about today, for example, reaching about 1 million girls every year in the Always School program that we do. Our goal is to continue to do more of this and even reach more girls, out there in the country.
Wife of Kebbi State Governor Zainab Shinkafi Bagudu and the Minister of Budget and National Planning, who was represented, acknowledged the impact of the company on millions of Nigerians and urged to do more.
The way we can and engage them to improve and expand their activities to core areas of the north like Kebbi, where I'm from, so that girls there can also benefit from their social investment programs.
A memorandum of understanding was signed between the company and the implementing partners as part of the anniversary. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
Executive Vice Chairman of the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, Professor Umar Garba Ambata, says the mandatory regime for telecommunications operators in Nigeria is to make them more vibrant and dynamic to meet international standards. He was speaking at a sensitization workshop on the corporate governance for telecommunications industry in Kano. Muhammad reports.
The Northwest Zone sensitization workshop by the NCC was to engage telecom operators and stakeholders to comply with the implementation and complement mandatory regime. It is also a platform to fashion out ways of addressing challenges faced by telecom operators and improving their services. Executive Vice Chairman of the NCC, Professor Ambata, says the Commission will not compromise to unacceptable practices and unethical behavior, hence the need to comply with the code.
What we need in this country are stronger institutions. So all measures necessary must be put in place to strengthen institutions of governance.
Reports agreement with stakeholders, the Commission commended the mandatory phase of monitoring and enforcing compliance with the provision of the code effective for 1st November 2016.
President of the Nigeria Bar Association, Abubakar Balarab Mahmoud, who presented a paper on corporate governance and business sustainability, enforcement as a tool for entrenching compliance, said there is need to sanitize the telecom sector. A panel of discussants on the code commended the NCC for the initiative, highlighted some issues to be addressed. These include language of the code, lack of clarity, ambiguity, among others.
The corporate code of governance across the sector, it will improve business sustainability. It will
Kano, Muhammad Rabi Ali, NTA News.
We'll take a short break now. Stay with us.
Tuesday Live this week is on several perspectives and dimensions of security challenges. It promises to be incisive, informative and educative. Join us.
During a successful meeting between the organizers of the first National Grassroots Sports Festival, Sports for All, with stakeholders who requested for shift in date and subsequent presentation at the National Council on Sports meeting, the first National Grassroots Sports Festival, Sports for All, has been shifted to 19th to 29th of April 2018. Venue, National Stadium, Abuja, packages A and B. This is an opportunity for state government, public and private organizations, companies and individuals to promote their achievements and brand through the festival. For broadcast sponsorship, contact Angelo Peter I. Elosia, Chairman and Chief Coordinator, or Nick Oyinsi. Organizers, Grassroots International Sports Academy and LOP Worldwide Television, endorsed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Broadcast partner, NTA, the largest television network in Africa.
Want to buy Indomie noodles? So fast, please. This is not my Indomie. Please, sir, it's not Indomie. Don't call it Indomie. Sir, the taste is the difference. The difference is the taste. That's why my brothers, my mommy, my daddy, and I all enjoy our delicious, so very delicious Indomie noodles. The difference is the taste.
From our wonderful family, Meat Party, for celebrating the high points of life with friends. And then there's me, Jolly, bringing nourishment to every gathering. Packed with healthy nutrition, nourishing vitamins, power of protein, strength of calcium, revitalizing energy. Hollandia yogurt is bursting with goodness inside and out. Hollandia yogurt, it's all good. Hollandia.
Sore throats, it's often caused by bacteria and viruses. Feels like they're having a party. You need Strepsils. It soothes the pain, plus it fights the germs with 2 germ-killing actives. Double power in 1 lozenge. Bye-bye sore throats. Take Strepsils.
Dettol team is visiting schools to teach children how to protect themselves from diseases. Do you know how we get illnesses like diarrhea, cough, and cold? They are spread through germs which are everywhere. You collect germs that cause diseases. You pick up germs from any surface, like when you don't wash your hands after going to the toilet, while playing. And then you can get sick because of germs. That's why you need to fight germs to stay healthy by washing your hands and taking your bath with Dettol soap to protect from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Wash your hands. What you have to do is bath yourself. Dettol soap every day. Wash your hands.
The sports, FIFA President Gianni Infantino commends Nigeria for her commitment to sports development as Victor Moses and Asisat Oshoala emerged best male and female players of the 2017 NFF ITO Award. Ademola Omokivie has more on Sports Update.
It was an array of prominent personalities worldwide at the inaugural edition of the NFF ITO Football Awards in Lagos Monday night. The award is to reward soccer stars for their immense contributions to the growth of football in Nigeria. FIFA's president Gianni Infantino got the Platinum Award, while the Best Player of the Year 2017 for male and female went to Victor Moses and Asisat Oshoala.
Actually, convinced in Nigeria, football is life.
A Football Africa Forum Summit has been put together by the National Association of Nigerian Professional Footballers. It aims at stringing along ex-footballers to provide solutions to teething problems of football in Nigeria and on the continent. Resource persons cut across all fields related to football.
This is really redefining football.
Following years of neglect in discovering athletes universities. A memorandum of understanding has been signed by the Nigerian University Commission and the Nigerian University Games Association (NUGA) under the auspices of Higher Institutions Football League.
The Nigerian University Games Association has one mandate, and the mandate is that we should raise athletes, hand them over to the nation. Nigeria's
flag bearers at the CAF Champions League (MFM) will take on Real Bamako of Mali in Lagos, while Plateau United will slug it out in Cameroon at Sports on Wednesday. They both seek to book their next round in the competition. And in the CAF Confederations Cup, Aqua United will be away to Banjul, Gambia. With Sports Update, Adeola Omokive, NTA.
And just before we go, let's tell you that the Yobe State Police Command says no student was abducted during the Monday night attack by suspected insurgents in Government Girls Science and Technical College Depchi in Yobe State. Abubakar Shaibu Galadima reports that following the attack, the state government has also announced the closure of the college. And that's it on Network News for tonight. Have a pleasant night rest.
Don't you people sell imported materials here? As beautiful as the shop is.
Auntie, buying foreign goods does not help our economy. Neither does it boost local production. And the good thing is Nigerian-made products are high quality. Really? And to make Nigeria great again, that is why I only sell made in Nigeria products. Because change begins with me.
Convinced. Change begins with me too. Change begins with me.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in the social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to question our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Do you say what you know for sure to be true?
Do you know that Abuja is planning to arrest all these girls wearing weave-on and human hair?
Why spread falsehood, half-truths and lies just to make yourself relevant and to feel important?
Did you read last week's paper? No. You read?
No, I'm not the reader for newspaper.
That is the problem. My people suffer for lack of knowledge.
People are misled by your fabricated stories and lies.
You have killed me, so now my memorial service now. Oh God. Oh God.
Unfortunately, these spinners of yarns and story people dwell among us and abuse us via our ears.
How does he get his information?
The cuckoo says in the town where me and know they get her information.
Alas, tune into your read-cracking comedy this week as we bring you the episode titled Story People.
Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow,
the largest data network. Glow Unlimited.
Television College, Jos, an affiliate of Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, is organizing a 2-week course in broadcast media management techniques. The course will be facilitated by iconic media managers and administrators such as Dr. Tony O. Iridia, former DG, NTA. Date 5th to 16th March 2018. Course fee 100,000 naira per participant. Accommodation inclusive. Also a 4-week course in principles and practice of marketing. We hold from 19th March to 13th April 2018. Course fee 100,000 naira per participant. Accommodation inclusive. Venue for both courses will be the NTA Television College, Rayfield, Jos. Both courses are specially designed to hone the skills of participants in the dynamic broadcast media space. The broadcast media management technique course targets participants from grade level 10 to 15 and shall deal with critical management functions that affect job performance. Principles and practice of marketing course has been packaged to help participants acquire relevant knowledge and skills in all aspects of digital marketing, public relations, market research, strategies and management. For further inquiries, contact 0806 908 9807, 0703 660 7155 or email ntacollege@gmail.com. NTA Television College, training you to be the best you can be.
Well, climb this thing now. Don't be ready to connect lights. Come you and yourself now. Now wow. Well, come down now. Oga Kasali electrician, who would they look for with this? Oh, Oga Kasali, come help us fix this wire now.
Sorry, I no longer carry out illegal connection. It puts the lives of people at risk and can cause fire outbreak and destroy supply. I will never be part of anything that has to do with this any longer because change begins with me.
Oh boy, letting him talk makes sense. Oh boy, no could carry this ladder from off.
This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency in conjunction with the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
If you hear a bomb explosion or gunshots of an active shooter, that might be a terror attack. At such times, always remember 3 action words. Run, hide, report. Don't try to run towards the terror scene to save the situation because there might be a second bomb blast or another attack. Run far away and take cover. Make sure you are safe first. Yes, it is in our nature to sympathize over the hurt, but remember, only trained personnel can help in such situations. When in a secured environment, promptly call relevant authorities and help will come. For anonymous reporting, call 09630-3250-5 or 0813-2222-106. If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
This is the network service of the NTA.
Charles William Eliot describes books as the quietest and most constant of friends. They are the most accessible and wisest counselors and the most patient of teachers. To one of the founding fathers of the United States, Benjamin Franklin, reading is to the mind what exercise is to the body. Yet, it has become a consensus that if you want to hide an important information from a Nigerian, put it inside a book. A sad reality which has become a recurring decimal amongst Nigeria's young and future leaders. Attempting an X-ray of the state of the reading culture in Nigeria may sound like a spent song, but it is expedient in order to reintroduce the reading culture. Therefore, considering that the ability to read is absolutely critical to success in life, an attempt by the Dateline 360 crew this week certainly isn't misplaced. It's a pleasure, as always, to have you with us this edition. Many thanks. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. The man who never reads lives only one. An assertion which vividly captures the wealth of one who understands that reading is the only form of entertainment that is also an essential life skill. It's Dateline 360. Welcome as we x-ray an aspect of living which demands certification as an emergency considering its ripple effect on society. Kene Imagwadike has a lead report.
The growing concern about decline in reading culture among Nigerians has been around for a while. In taking the matter to the courts of public opinion, reactions were as diverse as the issue. While some say the trend exists, others are of the opinion that the matter is personal.
We actually read what interests us. Do you understand? On the internet, we don't actually go to become creative or critical in any situation. So what we need to focus on more is not even the reading culture, but the skills. Like me now, my own problem is when I read, some word disappears. I have to go back again. It's a deficiency. Some people read, they cannot assimilate. Some cannot even retain what they've read.
People are buying certificates in school. Where is our reading culture gone to? There's this saying that we want to hide anything good from an African man put in the middle of the book, because they will not go there. So I am saying, families, mothers, parents, let's come together. It's time to redirect our attention to our children.
Taking the matter further, some hinged the lull in reading culture on the state of the economy.
In terms of economy, in our own area, we are already working out to make reading a career, so that if you're not picking up a book because of information, you're actually picking up a book because you want to earn a living.
Probing further, the death of intellectual materials, both in production and in the archives, are fingered to be part of the problem.
Now, we hardly have good authors, and that it translates to the youth not having the interest to read their books. And then we also look at the aspect of government itself. Our government providing the libraries. Go to primary school, there is no library. Go to secondary school, there are no. So if there is no library, which one do the student read?
However, with the emergence of information and communication technology (ICT), it is expected that reading will be made easier and accessible. But this is not the case.
The people or the youths has lost the consciousness of reading and the pleasure of reading. They have exchanged the pleasure of reading or the consciousness of reading or the interest of reading with pornographic watching movie and all these internet and even the phones have taken away the attention of people.
But others have a contrary opinion, advancing the argument that ICT should promote reading habit.
The ICT is the future of education, because if you think it's it's a negative tool to the society. In the nearest future, our tabs, our television will become our classrooms. So we need to create how we're going to make these tools work for us to make it enhance reading culture.
It is widely believed that reading culture is inculcated at one's developmental stage. But is that so with our present-day pupils and students?
Children are products of an environment, and of course, the children cannot do what they do not see.
The few criminal farmers among each of this group, the pastoralists. So it seems the few criminals within the Nigerian society creating this insecurity are feeding largely on our failure to cooperate and coordinate. Now, coming back to the issue of the Peace Commission, you find that in all of these conflicts, in all of this violence, there is very little presence of civil authorities. Where are the civil authorities? Where are the local government administrations? Where are the agencies of government that's supposed to mold public opinion? They're supposed to engage citizens. They're supposed to draw the security agencies closer to the people. They're supposed to have an oversight over the security agencies in terms of response to either an early warning system or an early response. So where are the civil authorities? You find that these civil authorities are lacking, and this was one of the major drivers for the creation of the Kaduna State Peace Commission. And if you look at from what the DG of Nomadic Affairs says in Niger State, it is by bringing in the civil population, who are the dominant section of the Nigerian citizens, to a common platform whereby you dialogue with them and create synergy between the political leaders, the security agencies, the community leaders, the practitioners, the organized private sector, and every other stakeholder to a common platform to pass on peace messages, to work together for peace, and to detect early signs, and then ensure there is early response before even the crime happens. And then if it happens, like he said, you can't prevent it 100%. How do you now bring in the citizens? And again, many of these crises are driven by misconceptions of each other and negative perceptions of each other. All right. These are the drivers that the Kaduna State Peace Commission is working hard to address.
We'll come back there. Let's bring in more people on the lines. Now, Ikpega from Bayelsa State is holding on. Hello. From Bayelsa State, go right ahead.
I think talking about issue about this insecurity, I was trying to contribute on the movement of the herdsmen. Like in my area, in some days I hear, hello? Hello?
Go ahead, go ahead.
In some days, I live in a house that is close to the road. Like the herdsmen, sometimes they move, even in the dead night, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the night, with their cattle. And the movement of the herdsmen in the night with their cattle, can't it be stopped? If that one will be stopped, sometimes that one will also control to an extent.
Okay. All right, thank you very much. His suggestion is stop the movement. Well, Niger State created how many grazing zones?
Reserve.
Grazing
ones?
Yes, and
it
seems that this is the highest number that we've had in Nigeria. So
yes.
How did you come about that? And
honestly, Momale has said a lot about what makes Niger State to be where it is today in terms of restoring peace and unity of the state. We have to synergize. We are now talking about taking proactive measures than reactive measures. That is why it's always good to be curious. Don't let it happen. Even if it will happen, let it happen in a way that you can manage. That is taking that proactive measures. We work hand in hand with the traditional rulers. From His Royal Highness to the level of to the ward level, to the district head and other Fulanis, what do we call the outlaws. We team up and we work together
I tell you here now in Niger State, you can sleep with your two eyes closed. And why do we achieve that? But it's just by what Momale just said now. Nothing more than that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's go back to the phones. We have Adamu calling in from Jos. Hello, Adamu.
Yes, Mr. Siristoba, you are good evening.
Good evening.
In fact, if really we want this our country to end the issue of insecurity, National Orientation Agency needs to be giving it preview attention. Because if you give National Orientation Agency and their staff work hardly, all this issue of insecurity will reduce drastically. Continue funding security and neglecting National Orientation Agency, it will not work.
Okay. Thank you, Adamu. Professor Jibril Ibrahim, talk to the people's mind. Like he just said now that you can put all the money you can into security agencies, but as long as there is no reorientation, you're still not good. So all these are interwoven, intertwined somehow. Is it that in your earlier contribution you said that we had lost most of our values? And so at what point did we stop taking those values that bound us together seriously? At what point did we decide that economic factors and other matters of climbing the social ladder had become much more important than the blood of fellow compatriots?
I think the first point I'll make is to commend Ardo for the great work they are doing in Niger State and his argument that it's possible to solve this situation of insecurity, because in some parts of the country people are assuming the problems are so serious there's nothing we can do about it. There is something we can do about it. I think one of the central problems that has occurred in this country is very negative narratives about the other, the rise of hate speech, and there's a lot of mischief in it. People are concocting stories that this group wants to come and seize your land, this people want to come and colonize you, there is a plot to destroy your people. There is so much of that type of dangerous narrative, and unfortunately many people are believing it, and that in itself becomes a driver of the conflict. Okay. So in that context, I quite agree with the last caller that we need to build positive narratives about what the problem is, how we can solve it, how nobody is trying to destroy the other, and that we are all members of the same community.
Okay, I might just ask you to hold on there, because you just raised the issue of people and gullibility, but let's take this call and we'll return to why are we so gullible at this point in time. But let's take this call from Abimbola, who's calling in from Abuja. Hello, Abimbola.
Yes, good evening.
Evening.
Yeah, my own contribution is, I think the man is just hitting my point. At least a good communication information to grassroots, try to educate them, talk to them, so that everybody will understand that we love each other. There should be a group that's able to talk to everybody with their different languages. Tell them that, okay, say, this is peace. Tell them, preach to them if it is possible. If on the language where they can understand. By doing that, and also the traditional ruler as well, they are more important here because they know them all.
IG is in Abuja. He can't know what is going on in Kaduna State. He can't. But the traditional rulers know them, know their family, know their relatives, and they can talk to them and they will understand. So that is my whole contribution. Thank you very much, sir.
Right, thank you very much, Abimbola. Prof, let's return to you. There's a lot of unsavory narratives going around, and people spread these things. But you find that these days it's so easy for people to be gullible and to just lap up everything hook, line, and sinker. Why is that? In the past, people take everything you say, things like this, with a pinch of salt. Now you find there's so much, people are in so much of a hurry to accept. The moment you just say, oh, it's from the other group, people are quick to take that. Oh, the North wants to destroy the South. The South is planning to disintegrate the North. You hear such stories, and sometimes these stories are coming out from highly placed, people in society. People with high, pedigree. They're saying these things.
I think there are a number of issues at play. I think the first issue is the collapse of control in mass communication. There were few organs of mass communication before. You had newspapers. A newspaper has an editor whose name must appear on the paper, who takes responsibility for what he's saying. Radio and television has a controlling authority, the NBC, that makes sure they stick very closely to their mandate and don't fabricate stories. Today, the world has changed, technology has changed, everybody is a publisher, everybody is a journalist, and it's very difficult to control that world. I was at the Senate retreat on security, and that was one of the key issues that were discussed, that too many irresponsible persons are fabricating stories and spreading them. The second issue is what you raised. Well, why are people believing them? I think here there is a collapse of even our moral authority. I have had a lot of religious leaders, for example, who used to be the stalwarts of truth, the stalwarts of calming down people, of kindness, now saying totally negative narratives that are completely out of place for people in their position. So I think there's a problem about the moral leadership in our society. And I think the third issue is, because so many stories come out, so many are fabricated, we have lost critical capacity to assess what we hear and what we read and make the determination whether this can be true or whether it's simply a fabrication.
Yeah, distinguishing between fact and fiction. Yeah. But let's take this call from Dominic, who's calling in from Lagos. Hello, Dominic.
Hello, Mr. Sales. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, and good evening to everybody there. Yeah, my contribution this evening is this. Nigerian population has so much overgrown that the number of policemen we have these days cannot really help issues. Going by the number of policemen we have these days, you find out that we have close to a policeman watching over about 200 persons in Nigeria, which is not supposed to be like that. If there is a way we can say, okay, we have like 10 people to a policeman, 10 people to a policeman, I think that will help the issues. But the police themselves too, they are not really helping issues.
Oh yeah, sorry, we lost that call there. But what Dominic was drawing attention to is, I don't know if we have these figures, if these are correct. You have about 370, the workforce to about 170 million people. You have about 370,000. Is that a fair representation?
You mean to say the strength of the police?
Yeah, the total.
You know, you cannot actually at any given time say that this is the strength.
Right.
Because every day there is manpower losses. Either through retirement or through deaths or other manpower wastage sources. So you can use it oscillates, but I can say it's within the region of 320,000.
320,000 to an estimated population of 170 million.
More than 170 million.
Okay, and people also allege that a sizable proportion of this number is attached to what's called VIPs, including the senators.
The other time it was the professor. Now you see, when people say that sizable number is tied to VIPs, it is right, it is wrong.
Okay.
It's right in the sense that physically you can see them with the VIPs, but you know the police function is to maintain protection of life and property. And when you see police carrying one or two VIPs, for example, when you see them escorting, so they are also policing. They are visibility policing. They are being seen. They can respond not necessarily to that particular person, but to any other person within that area. For example, if there is an occasion, you see policemen with some people come to that function. They are also providing security in that environment.
So senators, let me serve the DIG. DIG, I will disagree with you. You see, this time around I'll hit hard on the VIPs. You see, we have a very embarrassing ratio of police to our citizens, and the truth is we need to have more police. But in addition to having more police, you need to have better structured, better trained, and better equipped police. The VIPs are not simply politicians, because you are looking at me when you said VIPs. We have VIPs who are businessmen, the diplomatic missions, banks, and so on and so forth. But I believe that our central target should be providing security for the citizens of the country, rather than just VIPs, whether visible policing or whatever it is. What is important is to ensure that the ordinary citizen feels protected and is protected.
Yes, but the public would say that it behooves people like you, who are lawmakers, to push for better funding for the police force, as to equip the police force and raise a standard to that level where they would, be in a better position to cope with the challenges of...
Okay, now you are talking about the central mandate of our ad hoc committee in the Senate. The mandate is to review the security infrastructure in the country. That involves the police, all the services, our other security agencies. And what we are going to be doing pretty soon, possibly from next week, we'll start engaging the police in very close and private discussions. What are the kind of structures, the kind of operations, needs, and what we can do about to make them be more efficient and better. In fact, he was saying, before we came in, the DIG was saying they were only given 6,000 to recruit this year. I will object to that very vehemently. We need to have more than 6,000 for this year. We lost 10,000 last year. We didn't recruit in 2017. And I believe that what we need this year is 20,000 at least. So we are going to provide the funds, but we have to look at the structure. If we are satisfied that the current structure in the security systems are okay, then we can provide funds. Otherwise, we will insist on getting the structures bettered before we look for funds to put for the police and other security agencies.
All right, at this point in time, do you still have any caller hanging on the line? Hello? Yes. Francis. Oh, okay. The call from Francis there we've lost. But okay, we can just say to you, encourage you to call back. But at this point in time, we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll consider other methods of stemming this tide and bringing peace to Nigeria. Stay with us on NTA Tuesday Live. We'll be back shortly.
Sinoni Restaurant, serving authentic, delicious and healthy Chinese cuisine.
Nigerians, our fearless officers and men of the Nigerian military are winning the war against Boko Haram. Today, occupied territories have been recovered and Boko Haram has been degraded. Our affected brothers and sisters are getting lives back. However, they are now after you and me. In our mosques, churches, schools, motor parks, markets, entertainment centers, and public gatherings. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious objects and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me. Nigeria unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
The struggle for independence had been a long and tough one. Our founding fathers and compatriots sacrificed their comfort and even shed their blood. We cannot at this point in history afford to spirit away their sacrifices for immediate but temporary gains of today. Let us emphasize what unites and not what divides us. Working for the unity of purpose with a stronger vision for a better tomorrow. NTA, growing with the nation.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Make you report any crooked person, object or Wakajube movement to police and security agent demo.
The security of our nation now work for all of us, so plus including me and you.
Nigeria, make we unite against terrorism. Now, Federal Minister of Information and Culture bring on this message.
NTA Tuesday Live, a network issue-oriented innovation talk show.
Alright, thanks for staying with us, and even behind the scenes there have been so many suggestions coming in, and a discussion had continued on a robust level. But again, as usual, we took the cameras out to the citizens just to hear what they have to say about it. And let's watch.
It boils back to the home. What are we actually telling our children? What are religious leaders actually telling our youth? What are our leaders, our political leaders actually telling our youth? We're selling hatred and disunity between ourselves, and that's why we are where we are today. Let's call a spade a spade. When it is bad, say it is bad. Don't color it, don't use political coloration. Stand up for the truth and let us know that lives of Nigerians, we should value the lives of our citizens. Until our leaders are patriotic, until our leaders value lives of their citizens, then we're not going to make headway.
Maybe they have to call, because man, it's not a religious matter now. We have to hear about the herdsmen and the farmers. Let them find a way how they can meet these two people and address the situation.
I think the way the police force or the security agencies have been formed, they've been made in a way that they have to get orders before they can go to play their problems. But if we want to look at what is happening in Nigeria now, I think that doesn't really work for emergencies that we have on ground. I think there should be a situation where when distress calls are put across to the security agencies, they should be able to attend to it first. Then maybe they do a report on it, because that will be able to save lives earlier.
To me, to be honest, the Nigerian army, they are trying, in short, they have done a whole lot, I believe so. But because I think it has been long I hear bomb blasts in Abuja here, so I think kudos to the Nigerian army in that aspect. So, but I believe these killings of herdsmen and all that thing, they need to really do something about it, because it's now becoming more than Boko Haram, to be honest.
All right, the voice of the people there, and of course, commendation, kudos have been given to security agencies. But to come back to you, DIG, it's also known that the public, either rightly or wrongly, in situations like this, the police are the first to get blamed for either not policing or not detecting crime or so many things. Sometimes one is tempted to ask, is the police overwhelmed by all this?
We can never be overwhelmed. That's our duty. We are not overwhelmed. The only thing is that the police is the agency you will call. They are the first line of civil defense. So you can't say there is an incident now, you call civil defense, or there is a problem now, call the army, or there is a problem now, call road safety, or there is a problem, call NDLA. You say call the police. That is why the police are asking that since they are first among equal in issues concerning internal security, you should be able to make them look like that. You should not just classify them as security agencies and you should treat police, because police is the first line of defense, the first and the people know. Even if you create 1,000 security agencies now, when an issue occurs, they will say call police. They will not say call any other person. Every other person is coming to assist police. But police is primarily responsible, the first in line. So that is why the police should be made to be able, to carry out their duties, their statutory duties.
Now, how well has the police gone on with the public in terms of the relations, and how well has that been over time? I know there's been effort to improve such relations, but at what level?
I would say it's getting better now, because, as I said, more enlightenment. The police are now being more and more trained to be democratic. The in thing now is democratic policing, and democratic policing is hinged on community policing. Okay, community policing is about partnership between the police and the public, building trust. So when there is a trust, okay, both of them can freely exchange. Before we have a police that is militarized because of the nature of government we've been having over time. But since democracy, since 1999, police is being rebuilt to be democratic. In 2004 precisely, the first team of community policing officers came back to this country to train the trainers. So they are now training others on community. So every police officer now is being trained on community policing.
Okay, we'll return to community police in a short while, but let's go over to Maiduguri, where we have Shuaibu on the line. Hello, Shuaibu.
Mr. Sirius Toba, good evening. Actually, I want to identify with what Dr. Saleh and then Professor Jibril have said, and I do Dr. Andalon, the majority leader. What is happening in this country is that everybody is about self-help. According to Professor Ibrahim, everybody is just trying to play his role to serve him or herself. As a result of that, they are only taking away from the executives or the legislatives. Why? When they go there, they will be promising you things they could never do during the campaign, and when they go there, they will be doing different things entirely. So as a result of that, people used to take after them and do false things that are not supposed to be society. I think the best thing for them to do is the politicians, especially. I'm not saying that all the politicians are corrupt, but most of them. And I think the ratio is like 9-1. We need to do something about it. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's just stay a little while longer with the issue of policing. And it's a surprise that not too long ago, no one wanted to hear of the issue of state police. Today, that seems to be the song across board, even from state governors. And what do you think about that, Senator?
Well, I think our committee, the ad hoc committee on review of the national security, is looking into what was suggested by the Vice President at the opening ceremony of that summit. And of course, it was re-echoed 4 days after by the chairman of the Nigeria Governors Forum, the governor of Zamfara State. The state police is still undergoing some kind of serious debate. Some people feel, well, it is the only way out. Some others feel now it is prone to serious abuse, and we are going to wait, listen to the debates before we take a resolution on it. But again, on the police, Honduras had serious police reform, and today their police is more efficient and effective than it used to be. I believe that Nigerian police is supposed to be our #1 security front, but I believe that we need to look at the structure of the current Nigeria police force. Why the inefficiency? Why the ineffectiveness? It's not only funding. I believe that there is something fundamental in addition to funding. Yes, funding is a problem, but the police get a lot of funds from other sources. State governors contribute, banks contribute, and so on and so forth. And yet, when you go to a police station with a complaint, maybe the sergeant will tell you we have no paper and pen. When you complain to a police that you have been robbed, they will say they have no fuel in their vehicle. Something is fundamentally wrong. And I believe that as a government, as a nation, we have to properly look at the structure of our police force, fund it properly, and that is what we're going to do in the Senate. In fact, we want to see the funding gaps in addition to ensuring that the structure does not simply become a funnel where you put the funds and it goes down the drain. And that is not limited to the police. We are also the armed forces and other security agencies, and we will do that by the grace of God.
We have from Zaria, Charles, who's calling in. Hello, Charles. That signifies that the line from Charles is gone. But let's come back to you now on the issue of finding solutions to all of this. Now, you said the Peace Commission is just one of them. But Have you ever wondered that sometimes, even among the peacemakers, there's no unanimity of purpose? It's been alleged that a lot of people have two faces. The one they show to the public and the one they bear in private. While they pretend in public to be peacemakers, behind the scenes they're whipping up sentiments.
That's quite true. Normal with many human societies and individuals, but it fundamentally differs according to the level of commitment, the level of training, and the level of orientation that people receive. And actually, so that is why you have to do a very thorough analysis and a very thorough check, and then make sure that people with outstanding credentials over a very long period of time. You can have double faces over a very long period of time. It will certainly manifest, and I think that is very fundamental. But let me just speak over, just on this issue of the policing. I do know generally in Nigeria we have a lot of policemen committed to service, but still, like the distinguished senator says, the efficiency of the system is very clearly lacking. And I don't want to just narrow it to the Nigeria police or the Nigeria security agencies.